the attitude towards Spain, and I've said this a couple times on the show, it's not really about Spain. Like, there's nothing that modern Spain has done in the past century and a half to really merit this kind of treatment. So it's like a historical thing. And so it's a hate object that is essentially undeserving of the hate. No surprise, I like Spain, but they just haven't done anything to deserve it. And so if it's not really about Spain, we have to ask what it's about and what it really is about, because you saw it in Evo Morales's Bolivia. You obviously see it in Mexico. You see it pop up, to a lesser extent in some other arenas in Latin America. It's a signal. It's a signal. And what the signal is the enmity towards Spain is really an enmity toward the West and its entire heritage. And that whole basket of values, human rights, religion, dignity of the individual, the idea of democracy. If you're against Spain as such in the 21st century, I don't mean in the beginning of the 19th century, I don't mean in the 18th century, I mean in the beginning of the 21st century, if you're against Spain as such, what you are signaling is that you're against that entire basket of values and that heritage of European civilization that has done so much positive for your nation, and frankly is the reason your nation exists. And that's true for us in the United States too. All the Americas are the children of Europe in some way. That's just a historical fact.
So coloring their distaste for Spain also will then it explains their distaste for the United States.
I would argue that I think that's right. I would argue that the kind of the anti-Spanish thing is a trailing indicator rather than leading one. It's not that they turn against Spain and then turn against this basket of values. They're catechized, and catechizing is the right word because it is a quasi-religious, it's a cultic belief. They're catechized against the values of faith, dignity, liberty, the whole nine yards, and then that comes in an anti-Spanish wrapper. With the United States, I would argue it's a little bit different, with Mexico in particular, because unlike Spain, the United States is, and I say this objectively, I mean, as an American, the United States does constitute a threat to the Mexican ruling class, just by virtue of our size, our presence, our geography. And so there's a qualitatively different relationship. So although I do think the two phenomena are related, you can make a plausible case that there is rational Mexican concern with the United States and its role in Mexican civics and society and policy and the whole nine yards, which is all true. And the show is probably part of that concern. But you really can't make that case for Spain, for the modern Kingdom of Spain.
But if people want to learn more about that kind of relationship, or have more information about the Mexico and Texas relationship as well, the Mexican-American relationship, where can people go?
They can get on a plane to Mexico City and they can see. Look, there's no one single source for this. But what I would recommend, honestly, if people want to read about this and get a good look into this, and I don't recall if I've ever said this before on the show, but if I have, I apologize to viewers who are hearing this twice. The best coverage of Mexico, journalistic coverage that I find in Spanish, is from El País, which is a broadly leftist Spanish daily out of Madrid. It's very good. And you can see that they cover it relatively well, and they tell it fairly straight too. So I would go to sources like that. I would read Fehrenbach. I would read actually Enrique Kraut's, and he has the Biografía de Poder, the biography of power, which is a very good history of Mexico. And so you can start getting a sense of all this. One last thing I'll say, and I've heard this as rumor, but I've heard it more than once. I don't know if this is true, but if it is true, many of you will hear it on this show first. The rumored change and kind of the ultimate stick it to them to the Spanish is supposedly going to be the renaming of Mexico City to Tenochtitlan. Yes.
Well, if there's talk about that in the coming weeks, you guys can know that you heard it here first.